Hi, Jump Magic here. HoE Plus is a server that is designed to add even more difficulty on top of Hell on Earth difficulty. As the name implies, in Extreme Scrake Challenge, there are a ton of scrakes. It needs some very specific methods to play, and in this video, I show you the kind of movement that will help you survive. The room in which you appear is a dead end. You need to get out of this room to the main road, and any of the first trash Zeds you kill here will respawn outside on the main road, which is the direction that you need to go. So try to not kill anything and get out before you hear the roar that indicates scrakes are spawning, as they will also appear on the main road and start walking in. Once on the road, make a left and head down the ramp. You need to get to the bottom of the ramp or they'll start spawning inside the tunnel while it's out of everyone's line of sight. At the bottom of the ramp in this corner, you should camp here for 30 seconds. Now, I'm going to try to explain about the timing. I'm going to make up some numbers as an example. You could take them as guesstimates. Let's say that the number of Zeds your group kills in 60 seconds is the Zeds per minute, or ZPM. The way the game works, if your average ZPM is low, you get a certain mix of Zeds spawning. But if your average ZPM is high, you get a different mix of Zeds spawning. I'll use this table to illustrate. If you are killing quickly, your actual difficulty goes way up, because you'll be facing Zeds with multiple resistance types, with more ranged attacks, and this is one of the things that ends up killing the group, because you can't keep up with all the different kinds of fights you'll be getting into. If you can keep the ZPM average low, then you only need bullets to solve everything, and not that many of them. If you have a high ZPM, you start needing bullets, explosives, berserkers, commandos, freeze grenades, flashbangs, and you start losing people. That's the way the game is designed. You can't win just by having higher damage output if you define that as more bullets and better accuracy. The game will just change to attacking you with things that force you to change how you fight and where you'll end up. The way to win is to kill less often, slowly enough that you can comfortably handle the respawn mix. The game is made this way because they know that people don't want to do this, and that is the actual challenge. If you're an elite group that can finish all 10 waves without doing that, then you wouldn't be watching this video for advice anyway. The other thing that kills groups is just being cornered by a lot of Zeds. There is a limit on the number of Zeds that can exist at any time, and it's key to the number of people who are alive. For a group of 6, that limit could be 80 Zeds. Again, this number is for illustration. There is a table somewhere with the actual numbers. Now, those 80 Zeds, all traveling toward your group, take a while to all arrive at a point. For this example, there are 4 camping spots in this map. You spend 30 seconds killing at the average 30 ZPM, so you've managed to kill 15 Zeds. You travel to the next point and kill 15 Zeds along the way, so you've hit the average. Those Zeds get respawned, and it takes them around 60 seconds to all be in the same room as you. Assuming you kill nothing else, your pathway out of the room is now clear because all the Zeds have arrived in the room and are not blocking the exit. If you kill some more, they will spawn outside the room and walk into the room, blocking your way. So as a quick rule, you have to wait 60 seconds for the pack to get to your camp. Then you run around them to get to the next camp, and you wait there for 60 seconds. And then you run to the next camp. If you kill Zeds for 30 seconds at camp, then don't kill anything for 30 seconds while moving to the next camp, your path between camps are more clear, and your respawns are easier to handle. It may sound like not killing things will make the round take longer, but the respawns will be easier, and therefore you'll make up the time by working easier instead of harder. So how do you know when it's time to leave? Typically, players use the emotes to get your attention. It's common when someone sees Zed spawning from the direction you're going to hit the emote, "Get to the trader," rather than the usual "follow me." That means that your danger is now coming from a different direction, and it's time to pack up and leave. Once you start down the tunnel, the spawn points at the end of the tunnel will rate higher than the spawn points at the top of the ramp, and the new spawn point will become active. You need to commit to getting out of the tunnel quickly before enough Zeds spawn at the other end to sandwich your group. Two things. You're better off running forward to the next point and removing Zeds from in front of you, rather than facing backward trying to kill things catching up to you. You're actually better off not killing anything at all, because the game will see where you are going and respawn more things in your path. Once you get to the tunnel exit, a lot of people take the left and use the large courtyard to double back toward the ramp. I'm going to do something a little different here and use it as Camp 3 instead of Camp 2. The need here is to drag the Zeds farther away from the tunnel so that you can take it later going in the opposite direction. So instead of taking the left out of the tunnel, I'm going to take the right side exit. There are several spawn points right around the corner, so you have to push through without stopping, and try not to kill things along the way, or they'll get spawned at the place you're going to. Now, if you have been killing a lot of things quickly, the game will start spawning a lot of husks. Those are a real problem as large number of husk bolts are incredibly annoying. This corner area has a very thin approach and is shielded from husk bolts. Just pop out to kill Zeds approaching on the ledge and pop back under cover. Again, you should stay here roughly 60 seconds, the amount of time it takes for the Zed pack to walk into the room. If you can stop killing for 30 seconds, your exit through the left alley will be more clear. You'll also have to contend with a spawn point in the corner, and it seems like you can prevent them from dropping here by having someone stand in that corner. When you decide to leave this camp, jump down. If you've managed to not kill anything for 30 seconds, you'll have an easy time zigging around them and through the alley to the courtyard. The way to the courtyard is a long straight shot, perfect for sharpshooters, which will be handy if you have husks following you because you need to kill them first. The courtyard is what people were using as Camp 2 to draw the Zeds out from the tunnel and then reversing out of the courtyard to go back to the start. The reason for that is that the alleys would be popping Zeds if you've been killing them after you emerge from the tunnel, which made it tricky to get back to the start room from that direction. What I did was add time at Camp 2 to drag all the Zeds into that room away from the alleys. The way to use this courtyard is to hug the side wall while the Zeds walk over from Camp 2, then zag to the opposite wall to get around them. A lot of people tend to not listen about hugging the wall, and then the zag ends up having some deaths on the way out. Stay in the courtyard for 60 seconds, then run for the tunnel and go back through the tunnel to the ramp. You'll probably still have Zeds in the alley who will then start heading to the top of the ramp, so you're going to be heading back toward the starting point. Again, you want to get there quickly because there are a lot of spawn points by the ramp, and if you don't move fast, they will sandwich you in the tunnel. Once back in the start room, you want to head into the narrow corridor on the right. This draws them to one side of the room, and after 60 seconds, the pack should all be in the room. At that point, you then zag around them to the opposite side in order to run back to the ramp. Once there, repeat all of these steps until the end of the wave. Very important, you don't want to start the other waves in the room where you first appeared. It's a very difficult exit to do, and people tend to die trying to get out. Every time you start a wave, you want to start at the bottom of the ramp, where everything will be spawning behind you because you will be heading through the tunnel. And the spawn points at the end of the tunnel are far away, so they don't become active until you get much closer to them. Side note, if there are no husks, you can stand on this wall in the starting room and about 90% of the Zeds will not be able to follow you. If husks do spawn, the wall becomes untenable, as when a husk bolt strikes you, it will often knock you toward nearby Zeds instead of backward as you would expect. Similar to that spot, you can hide behind this pile of bricks in the tunnel, and anything but husks will ignore you. If a husk manages to get to the tunnel exit, he will shoot you from the side of the exit. Final thoughts. Just like the dust map, there are spaces where you need to get around Zeds, and you don't have a lot of time to kill them all. That's where it's very helpful to have a sharpshooter with freeze grenades, or someone carrying a freeze thrower. The flashbangs from SWAT or Survivalist do roughly the same thing but have a shorter effect. Thanks for watching this video. Good luck, and I'll see you on the killing floor.